At Philip Hilton High School, kids were arriving from all sides. A long line of cars were pulling up, one at a time, dropping more youngsters off. Thus, a crowd of teenagers was forming at the entrance. The school didn't have a front gate, only a set of large double doors and a driveway. A small patch of grass, only a dozen feet wide, with a line of pine trees, separated the sidewalk from the building. There were brick fences on either side of the front doors that were just the right height to sit on. It was an ideal place to wait for friends. A boy rolled up to the school on his black beaten-up skateboard, flipping it up as he reached the brick fence. A girl was close behind him on her own pink board. She skidded to a halt, and they both leaned on the brick fence to wait. They looked very much alike, except the girl had pink meshes in her long blonde hair. She had a black baseball cap on, turned backwards, with a stylized white skull on the side. Her eyes were big and brown, and her thick black mascara gave her a sort of cartoony look. She was wearing jeans, a black t-shirt, with a Rolling Stones logo on it, and had a kind of teen rock star look, except without any false pretenses. The boy wore ragged jeans and a blue-clad shirt. His shades were on the tip of his nose and didn't really do much to hide his brown eyes. His blonde hair wasn't as long as the girl's, he was rocking a mullet. "He's not here yet," the girl noted. The boy complained, "Told you we didn't have to hurry so much." "Bite me, Soren," she snapped at him. He rolled his eyes at her. "You need to chill out, sis. It's not like we haven't done this a million times already." "Oh, spare me. It's different this time, and you know it," she reminded him. "We need to be on point." "We're on point," he said in a more reassuring tone. "Sona. Seriously. Relax." "That's easy for you to say," she retorted. "All you ever do is relax." He chuckled at her, without denying it. She shook her head, but smiled at him. They waited there silently for a while longer. The school bell rang, indicating they had 10 minutes to get to class, and the other students began heading inside. Soren and Sona exchanged a worried look. "Maybe we should go look for him," she suggested. Soren considered the thought, but then pointed out, as if sensing something. "Ah, there he is." A few seconds later, Kalen came swerving around the corner and raced down the sidewalk towards them. "Hey dude," Soren greeted him. Sona did the same. "Hey Kay." "Hi guys," he greeted them back, panting. "You're late. What kept you?" Soren asked casually. "Yeah, sorry about that," he replied. I just, got distracted along the way. I had the weirdest dream last night, and on the way, I dunno." He hesitated, looking at them, then added, as if changing his mind about telling them. "Also, Aunt Val kept asking me about school and the band." Sona and Soren exchanged another look. "Come on," Kalen said, before they could ask him anything. "We're gonna be late." They headed inside. In the hallway, locker doors were slamming open and shut. Kalen got to his locker and put the skateboard inside along with his backpack. He took with him only his books and pens. As he went along, a few other kids greeted him. He knew most of his fellow sophomores. On his way to class, a girl came up to him, blocking his path. She was beautiful, with brown hair and eyes, big boobs and a mischievous grin on her face. "Hi Kalen," said the beautiful girl, cornering him against the wall, with a sexy voice. Kalen replied, trying to hide his surprise and nervousness. "Samantha. I mean Sam. Hi." Samantha Powell was one of those girls no one could ignore. It was odd that she was even talking to him, let alone that she had been the one who had begun the conversation. "So," she said, "I hear you and your band are going to play at school sometime soon. True. Or false?" For some reason, Kalen suddenly had a deep hatred for how rumors had a way of spreading fast and blowing up completely out of proportion. "Well," he stuttered. "Actually, we just got started. We don't really have any plans to play anywhere just yet. It's just you and the twins, huh?" She looked back at Soren and Sona, who were at their own lockers trying not to stare at her. "What are you guys called again?" "The Elms," he answered. Sam wasn't impressed with the name. Kalen wasn't sure if she hadn't understood the reference, or if she just plain disapproved of it. "You know," he tried to explain, without being patronizing. "Because we're from New Haven. The Elm City." "Yeah, I get it," she quickly cut him off, a hint of annoyance in her tone. "Sorry," he apologized. "You don't like it? It is kind of basic, don't you think?" she suggested irritably. "You should rethink that name. Trees are boring. You need something cool like, I don't know. Something else." "Oh, okay," Kalen replied, trying not to upset her any further. "I'll talk it over with the band." He felt phony referring to his friends as the band. She rolled her eyes at him and huffed. Well, I better get to class. Kalen was a little confused. Why did Sam even speak to me in the first place? He thought to himself. She's just making sure she's on top of things. I suppose, as one of the popular girls, she has to keep herself informed after all. Yeah, that's probably it. A moment later Kalen realized Soren was at the door of his own class, looking at him. Soren grinned and gave Kalen a thumbs up, as if to congratulate him for catching the attention of Miss Popular. Go Kalen, my man, he cried from across the hall. Kalen gave him the finger, but Soren didn't give a damn. There was little doubt Sam had overheard him, just about the whole hall had. Soren pulled crazy stunts like that all the time. He was downright shameless, completely devoid of social inhibitions. He just laughed loudly and went into his class. Kalen caught a glimpse of Sam's boyfriend, Henry, entering another classroom, and could see he didn't seem very happy, as he stared Kalen down. Clearly, he didn't like seeing his girl talking to other guys. Classes flew by and soon it was lunchtime. Sam kept her distance, as she usually did. Kalen couldn't help wondering if she was mad at him, or if she still even remembered who he was. At her table, she was laughing away next to her boyfriend. Kalen decided not to waste any more time thinking about it. He turned back to his own table and began to chow down across from the twins. Hey Sona, Kalen began. You really think we're ready to play? I mean, for real. Sona studied Kalen's eyes and then answered calmly. Yeah, I think we're as ready as we'll ever be. Why? I dunno, he tried to explain. I mean, it's one thing to talk about it at your house. It's a whole other deal when we're actually here, at school. Thinking about it, these kids all around us would be the crowd. Know what I mean? Sona looked at Soren as if asking him what he thought about it. Soren frowned at them both in disbelief. The hell is this? You two pussies wimping out on me all of a sudden. No one's wimping out, doofus. Sona snapped at her brother. I just don't want to push him into something he doesn't feel like doing. She turned to Kalen. Look Kay, if you don't want to do it, I get it. It's a lot. My brother's a jackass, but I think he's right on this one though. We should play. We might never get a chance like this again. Sure, the crowd might be tough, but... She trailed off. I hear you, Kalen said, nodding at her, but still reluctant. It's just... What if I get stage fright? What if I panic? What happens to our lives if we don't win this crowd over? Soren cut in before Sona could speak. Dude, they hate us already. Or have you forgotten? We have literally nothing to lose. So they'll hate us a little more, so what? Screw them. They don't hate us, they hate you, Soren. Sona pointed out comically. Kalen chuckled at her comment. Soren crossed his arms and declared, Bah. Let them hate me. See if I care. Sona gave Kalen time to think it over, then, after a moment, asked, So, are we on or not? He took a deep breath and decided, We're on. Hell yes, Soren celebrated. Hey, listen, Kalen changed the subject. You think we should rethink our name? The Elms, I mean. The Elms? Why? Sona asked, unsure. Kalen hesitated. Well, nah, forget it. It's stupid. Sona glanced over her brother's shoulder back at Samantha, then pointed a thumb at her and inquired, Does she have anything to do with this? Kalen made a guilty as charged face and replied awkwardly. Like I said, stupid, right? Hey, you're the one who came up with the name, dude, Soren reminded him. It's your call. But to be honest, I think changing it now would be weird. I kinda feel attached to it. Honestly, I think it's a rad name. Yeah, Kalen agreed. I like it too. Then let's keep it, Sona declared. What does Samantha Powell know about rock bands anyway? You're right, Kalen decided. We're the Elms and that's that. Sona smirked at him and added jokingly. By the way, Kay, you should know by now, I'm always right. He chuckled at her confidence. Lunchtime ended and they dropped the subject. Kalen always felt better after talking things over with the twins. They had a positive effect on his nerves, even if they did fight half the time. He got along well with everyone, but they were his only real friends. They had known each other since they were about 5 years old. After school, the parking lot was the place to be. It was a huge meeting ground, hidden away behind the gym. Kalen, Soren and Sona lingered there until they were almost late for work and had to rush off. A lot of kids went there just to make out. Others went there to smoke. Or worse. In the furthest corner from the entrance, a loud stereo pumped away, the ground shaking under everyone's feet. The music was usually some sort of lame dance music, as Soren put it. Not that he was an expert on the subject, but he kind of had a point. A generation lost, he sighed, with disgust. Sona rolled her eyes at her brother and complained. Oh, get over it already. Every day it's the same thing with you. Soren ignored her, staring at some girls that were dancing. At least we get to see some tail feathers shaking. He grinned, indulging himself with a sight, then cried at the girls, yeah. Break it down, girls. They all turned to him and one of them flipped him off. Another, however, smiled at him. It seemed he wasn't as universally hated as he made himself out to be. He was the class joker after all. Kaylin loved being there, at that parking lot. It was like actually being in the club, as opposed to outside waiting in line. There was a powerful sense of freedom in the air there, even though it was still school grounds. Of course, along with the freedom, came the gossip. Everyone had already heard about the Elms weeks before, but that day, it seemed to be all anyone could talk about. There was a school dance coming up in about 2 weeks. Flyers were circulating and Kaylin's band simply came up all around. Sona went to talk with some of the girls next to the stereo. She was clearly proud of her membership in the band. Soren went over to some other kids and joined the blabbering about cars and chicks. Kaylin was about to join Soren when Bianca Weldon, the sophomore class rep, came up to him. She was a nervous, fast-talking girl. She was also very direct, starting the conversation without even a "Hi, Kaylin." She was going on about how nice it would be to have a student band playing at the dance. Apparently, the senior class reps had pressured her into talking with him due to the fact that they were in the same year. But Kaylin was hardly paying any attention to her. Samantha and Henry were leaning on each other at the parking lot fence, near the entrance. It wasn't uncommon for them to make out there, but that time they seemed to be having an argument. They talked for a while, tensely, and then she pulled away from him. She had never done that before, at least not like that. Henry tried to pull her back, but she had already slipped out of reach. A moment later, she was back with her entourage of worshipping friends. Henry looked angry. It was so easy for Kaylin to see the emotions emanating from those two. He had always been observant. Kaylin's thoughts were cut short, as Bianca caught his attention again. Anyway, she said, in her quick, nervous voice. I'll need a list of the songs you guys are going to play. The school council won't approve it without a proper schedule. You know how it is. Yeah, sure, Kaylin replied politely. I'll have to talk with the guys. We don't really have a repertoire ready yet, so I'll have to get back to you on that. Okay, but try not to leave me hanging, she said, disappointment tinting her tone. Everyone always leaves these kinds of things for the last minute, and the organizers end up having to run around like crazy to get things done. I'll let you know as soon as I know myself, he assured her. I promise. She smiled and bounced off. Kaylin didn't like how fast things were escalating. They were going to have to get it together and fast, if they were to play at this dance. Soren must have seen the trouble in Kaylin's eyes, because he finished up his conversation and came over. Hey dude. What was that about? Oh. Kaylin was caught slightly off guard. Dude, I feel like this is spiraling out of control. He proceeded to explain. Just then, Sona popped up next to them. You won't believe what just happened, she said, interrupting them. You know Gabriel Doyle? Yeah, sure, Kaylin nodded, the school newspaper guy. He's the Hilton Highlights chief editor now, she pointed out. Anyway, he just asked me if I'd like him to arrange an interview with the Elms. Sona's voice tended to get squeakier as she got more excited. Kaylin looked to Soren and said, See what I mean? Soren chuckled teasingly. Sona frowned and demanded, What are you guys talking about? Kaylin's freaking out on us again, Soren informed her. I think it's great, 'cause now there's no bailing out. It's do or die. Sona looked at Kaylin and shrugged. Guess you'll just have to get used to the idea, Kay. She encouraged, punching his shoulder softly. The Elms will play at Hilton High. Kaylin sighed heavily. I just hope we're as good as everyone seems to think we are. He glanced at the school clock and realized it was already time to hurry off to their part-time jobs. Guys, he said anxiously, 3:15. We gotta roll.